Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tristan's Tech Playground. My name is Tristan, in case you couldn't have guessed. And today I want to show you guys really just kind of a quick overview of how to make your own custom chat GPTs, and then also kind of take that a little bit further, because most of the folks that I'm seeing are just kind of going through like the wizard setup, right? So you chat to the thing, and then it like tells you, okay, so we're going to do this. So what kind of tone do you want? Like, that's great. But I think the real value that you're going to see with these things is being able to train it on specific sets of data and like your own information. And when you're able to do that, then of course we're going to be able to really greatly amplify its abilities and, you know, just the things we can do with it. So let me hop back over here real quick. I actually want to do this. Just want to show you guys some of the ones that I've been working on, just to kind of give an idea of where I'm hoping to go with this. So Catchy Clicks, hate that title, but this one writes titles for YouTube videos. I've got an SOP bot in here, which is pretty cool. I've got a Cynthia bot, which I actually set up for my wife. It's my sarcastic AI assistant who helps her write titles for YouTube videos. I've got an avatar wizard. This one's designed to build it's designed to help you create viewer avatars for your content, which again is pretty cool. The Inner Beast bot, that one's internal. That one's a YouTube channel audit tool. The Underdog Gaming Coach is a kind of a reference help bot, support bot for what did you call it? For my YouTube gaming stuff, right? And then the Video Ad Bot is actually pretty cool. What I did is I went and I trained it on like 50 of the top performing YouTube ads, and I had it tear all these ads apart using Harpa. I'll show you guys that here in a minute as well. But just tear the videos apart, figure out like, you know, pacing, figure out the call to action, figure out the solutions that are being offered, the pain points, like all that kind of stuff. And then I took all that data, that information, and actually trained an AI on how to replicate that kind of a video ad, which is kind of neat. But the one that we're interested in today is the Battle GPT. So I've been testing this just to make sure that the process would actually work. And I want to kind of walk you guys through the processes here. Give me 1 second, because I just got a text message I'm supposed to answer. Or something. Okay. So this is the BattleBot. You can see I didn't use the wizard for this just because I don't particularly like interfacing with the wizard. I think it's a little slow and it doesn't really add in all the information and stuff that I want. So I kind of prefer to write these things out myself. But let's open up a whiteboard here. So what I wanted to do with this is I want to create a GPT that is able to follow a series of more complicated instructions. So we got the instruction part's going to go over here, right? And then within those instructions, I want it to be able to pull out data from multiple sources of like documents that I provided for it, okay? So in this case, what I did is I wanted it to be able to simulate a Pokemon battle, just because I thought that would be fun, and it's kind of complicated. So when we're simulating a Pokemon battle like this, like obviously we need to know what the Pokemon is. I can spell. So we're going to select the name. And then we also want to know like what kind of attacks it has. We want to know what kind of stats it has. We want to know how those things interact with each other. So like, you know, if I use tackle on a Geodude interactions, then obviously like that's supposed to take 1/2 damage, right? Because of the type differences, because of the attack element, right? And then the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to turn it on strategies, and the rules. So that way it could actually perform on a, because like there's like official like Pokemon tournaments and stuff. And so I want it to be able to kind of follow those rule sets and then use those. So what'll happen then is I've got a format set up like this, right? And then it's got all the stuff over here. And then each of these steps, it's supposed to go and it's supposed to pull information from this. And then it's also supposed to take that and then store that within its own little chat thing in order to make sure we can reference that information again in the future. So a little bit more complicated than the, hey, help me write 10 YouTube title type things, but hopefully it will actually work. So first thing we need to do then is we need to go and we need to find all that data and that information. So I did a quick Google search, and it turns out there's actually a ton of information and like databases of different Pokemon stats. So the Pokemon database has definitely turned into my favorite thing in the entire world. The other one I really like is called Kaggle. And Kaggle has a crap ton of this stuff too. And like, especially if you're going to be looking for like these kind of large data sets, this Kaggle site seems to have a ton, like just hundreds and thousands of just random bits of data. Why are we wanting to see if we can record a video game right now? That is not making sense. Anyways, highly recommend the site. Well, I was going to say let's look at something specific, but that's okay. Let's close this. And then I will... Alright, I guess that's it. Anyways, it's a pretty useful site. So, first thing we did is I actually opened up a different version of ChatGPT over here. And I said, hey, I've got this crazy idea. What do I need? They said, all right, so we need to get some data. We need to get the moves and ability stuff. We need to get the type matchups, game mechanics, battle strategies, battle data. So I actually went and I found a whole bunch of battle logs from like the competitive stuff. And then machine learning resources kind of built in, player interaction data we're going to work on, community forums we don't care about, and game guides and rulebooks, we've got that too. So first thing I did is I just went through here. I started pulling out all the data on like the moves, type charts, abilities, items, and then also like all the Pokemon all together. And I downloaded all of those into, let me switch this screen around real quick, the Pokemon bot. So just saved them all as Excel documents, CSVs, so that way I can go through and reference these and then also put them back into ChatGPT. Some of the stuff we don't actually need. So like, for example, we don't care what gen the Pokemon or the attack is, which generation that it comes from. That would be useful if you're going to be doing something like, limiting it to just Gen 1 Pokemon, so like just the original red, blue, and yellow Pokemon. I also downloaded the damage charts that would show like how much damage a Pokemon would receive, depending on its type and the attack type, which is all going to be right over here. The one thing I am noticing that this is missing is it doesn't include a stab bonus. So a stab bonus is your same type attack bonus. It gives you a 50% boost if your Pokemon is using a Pokemon of the same element that it is. So for example, Pikachu would get a bonus for electrical attacks because that's an electric Pokemon, right? We'll come back to that in a second. And of course, I also got all the items and what they do. And then here's a list of all the Pokemon right here, including their types. And then this one is a list of all the moves, their type, so like their element, their damage type, how much damage they actually do, and the number of power points they have. So that way we can incorporate all this into the battle structure. And then I also went and I grabbed a bunch of the team strategies from like the top, competitors. And again, I just grabbed all that information from here. As you can see, I ended up not using this just because it's an image and it was going to give the AI a little bit more trouble. I ended up finding the right thing over here on Kaggle, which is this right here, which is why I like Kaggle so much. The other thing I did is I went and I found there is a tool called Pokemon Showdown, which is really cool. Basically, it's a place where you can go and you can play like a web browser Pokemon tournament against other people. And again, pretty neat, pretty helpful. It's just a neat way for me to kind of format and categorize the information here. So I gave everything a nice format, and it was repeatable, and this is something I could train my chatbot on. So there are a whole bunch of other things. There's some GitHubs, there's some other databases that you can tie into. If you know how to do that, I do not, so I did not. And then the other thing I went and I did is I found a basically it's the breakdown of the like top of the winners and like the top competitors for recent Pokemon tournaments. Again, I just kind of want to get an idea like what kind of like strategies are out there, like what kind of Pokemon are being used commonly, those kinds of things. So what I did with these is basically you just click this over here and it'll take you to like a short article that the competitor wrote, that the player wrote. And then I used Harpa, which is a free and very, very, very powerful and very, very useful AI web browser plugin. What it can do is it can read the content of any page that you're on, including a YouTube video, and it can extract data and use that as part of your prompt. So it's really cool. So like in this case, I said, okay, I need to know like how this team was put together. I want to understand the strategy behind it. And like the guy who wrote it explains all of that. So I got from this one, I got the same thing from over here. And like this one's pretty cool because he's saying, this guy, I assume it's a guy. I should double check that. Daniel, right? So he was saying, okay, so I wanted to have a really offensive play style. I knew I wanted to use only like a few status moves. Here's each Pokemon. Here's the role it was, assigned, and then here are the attacks that it had, and then the strategy. So I really, really liked this particular article. It was written by Daniel, so thank you for that. But yeah, so I did that for all of these, and then trying to think if there's anything else. That's pretty much it. So like I said, going through, taking all that information and just collecting it and making sure that it would be usable by the AI was kind of that first hurdle that we had to overcome. And that took me like a couple hours to go through and actually find everything and make sure it was containing everything that I needed it to contain. Whew. Okay, so once that was done, the next steps were actually pretty straightforward. I loaded all those documents over here into ChatGPT, as you can see right here. Oh, the battle format, that's important. So going back to this, I actually used this, so all of these right here, as the format for the way that I wanted ChatGPT to interact with the user. And so I said, all right, here's the format. So here's the player name, or excuse me, the AI name, the player name. Here's the AI's team. Here's the Pokemon's team. And I say, okay, so AI is sent out whatever, player is sent out whatever, battle starts, turn 1. And then it kind of goes through and gives an example of what this should look like. Except this one is kind of like the source. So this is the one I ended up using. Shortened it a little bit, made it a little bit simpler, but like these are the actual instructions. So you are Battle GPT. Your task is to simulate the outcome of Pokemon battles using the provided training material. Always and only reference the training material when calculating Pokemon battles. You can simulate battles between 2 AI-controlled Pokemon, as well as battles between yourself, the AI, and the user. Try to follow this format. So player or AI name, player name. Here's the AI's team. Here's your team, and then also gives you a list of moves that Pokemon can learn, and you can adjust that as well. So, for example, I liked choosing Gyarados, and we'll go through and we'll do an actual battle here in a minute. But I liked using Gyarados, and so like Gyarados had Earthquake and Waterfall, and I forget what else. And I said, okay, Waterfall's great, but I actually want to switch that for Scald, for example, because Scald can let you burn the other Pokemon. And so I can say, okay, so here's the recommended moves. I want to swap out this move with that move, so on. Then once the teams are set up, the next thing it's going to do is it's going to start the battle. So turn 1, and then these are the instructions that the AI is going to follow. Actually, I should probably move this down to like right there. That makes a little bit more sense. So here are the instructions. So ask the player what attack they want their Pokemon to use, considering abilities, items, and stat changes that may have already occurred. We actually need to include, let's do this as well. Recommend, let's say held items. And then we're just going to go like this. Copy that, get on like that, and like that. And then it probably wouldn't be a bad idea to actually give the AI the same abilities. So let's do this. All right. So that way we can actually have it look at items and those kinds of things that the Pokemon might be holding. Also look at any stat changes that may have occurred. So for example, there are Pokemon attacks that cause its stats to increase or to decrease. That prevents it from using specific moves, those kinds of things. Calculate which Pokemon attacks first based off the Pokemon speed stats, which is in the training material. Calculate the amount of damage that the opposing Pokemon receives based on both Actually, you know what? Since I'm going to be smart for a minute here, let's take this, and I'll just show you what it looks like over here. We're just going to adjust this, like so, and then we're going to move this bit down here. Okay, so using the Pokemon speed stat, and again we have that down here in the files, and then calculate the amount of damage the opposing Pokemon receives based off the Pokemon stats, typing attack type to determine the damage. If the attack is physical, use the attack stat. If it's special, use the special stat. Then defenses also work the same way, and as well as any additional effects and accuracy, since most of the attacks have a chance to miss. Update the Pokemon's HP stat, reduce the chosen move's power point stat, And then also when power points are equal to 0, move cannot be used, and the player or the AI must choose a different move. If the HP stat is equal to or less than 0, I'm pretty sure I got that wrong, then the Pokemon faints is no longer usable, and the player or the AI must choose a different Pokemon. When all the player's Pokemon or the AI's Pokemon have fainted, they lose the battle. And then it has turn 1, and then player sends out, the AI sends out his Pokemon, the player sends out its Pokemon, and then it starts following through the battle example. And then also that's a dramatic description of what happened during this turn, and it provides a status update for what happened at the end of that turn. So the Pokemon's name, and now has so many hit points, and it has these status effects, and so on. And so what I'm hoping will happen with this is that this will be something that the AI can go back and reference in order to update that stuff and not get as confused. And then the other thing is that it just makes it a little bit easier for the user, because then you can see like how many hit points the Pokemon has, and so on and so forth. And I gave it 2 turns to as a format and like an example. So that's really it. Like, it was pretty simple and straightforward, if you consider that simple and straightforward. But yeah, so we got all that in, gave it a cool picture. Gave it 2 conversation starters, so Battle GPT, I challenge you to a Pokemon battle. Then also can you tell me who would win a fight between 2 Pokemon. Gave it the ability to receive files. It has all the other stuff attached to it as well. And we'll go ahead and we'll update this because we made a couple little changes to it. And then for some reason I have to update it and then save it. I'm not sure what's causing that. But let's give this thing a try. So, Battle GPT. Let's close that real quick. I need to go and find the Pokemon battle music in here too. Alright, so it's selecting its team. It's going to use whatever that thing is. A Fluttermane, I don't know what that is, and Iron Hands. So I now need to pick which Pokemon I want. So I like, we'll say, Gyarados, Charizard, and I've got a lot of like things that are gonna be weak to rocks. Venusaur. And I didn't give it any moves or held items, so I'm curious to see what it's gonna recommend. Oh, there it goes. For Mega Evolutions, and then also giving it Black Sludge that gets the other stuff. That's great. Let's battle. So I'm actually going to grab these because I am going to forget what my team has. Just move that over here. Make a new one of these. Cool. Alright, so. Oh no, it didn't let me choose my attack. So I guess we're just going to automate the attack. So we're going to have to go through and look at that again and figure out what's going on. But I want to keep going with this for just a minute. So here are the like the first bit. So the first thing I'm noticing is that we need to actually give it our name. And so we need to add that to the prompt so it will ask for the player's name, so that way it will, incorporate that correctly. The other thing is we need to also make sure that it asks us what attacks we want to do, or like what moves we want to make. I'm pretty sure that was included in here, but we will adjust that. So he sent out his Pokemon, we sent out our Pokemon. They use Stealth Rock, Rock Scatter around the opponent's side of the field, and then we use Dragon Dance, which increases our attack and speed. Field is set with Stealth Rocks, potentially affecting the switch-ins for your team. Gyarados boost with Dragon Range is now faster and more powerful. This could be a critical advantage for your next moves. Here's the our stat update, so it's still got 100% of its hit points. So do we also have a +1 to attack and our +1 to speed. What moves would you like Gyarados to use next? So let's figure out what the heck this Pokemon is, because I have no idea. Rock-type Pokemon introduced in Gen 9. Okay, so it's just a rock. Pure rock, so it's weak against fighting, ground, steel, water, and grass type attacks. Good to know. We're cheating. And we do have a water type attack with this. We have Water Dance. So I'll say Gyarados. Use... No, is it Water Dance? Waterfall. Waterfall. Turn 2. It hits the AI's Gragnackle. Gragnackle used Earthquake. It shouldn't hit us because Earthquake is a ground type move and we are flying. So I'll need to make sure that we double check that. So Gyarados crashes into the Pokemon with a powerful waterfall boost by its increased attack. Sturdy as it is, withstands the attack but takes significant damage. It retaliates with an earth-shaking Earthquake and a good amount of damage. Earthquake doesn't, or shouldn't, we'll say that, because we're not cheating, shouldn't affect Gyarados because it is a flying type. What do you think about that? Oh, it's cheating. You don't get to choose your turn again. Alright, we'll have to work on that too. Oh, there it goes. Attempts an Earthquake, but Gyarados, being a flying type, is unaffected by the ground-based attack. This puts Gyarados in a favorable position. Darn right it does. But because we're flying, we're also going to be weak to its rock attacks. Does it have rock attacks? Stealth Rock, recover body... No, it doesn't. So it'd probably be able to hit us with body presses, really its only option. Might cast recover, maybe? But that's okay. Let's try it again. Gyarados. Use Waterfall again. I also think this is going to be a lot of fun once we're able to run these custom GPTs on mobile devices, because that's going to allow us to like talk and, you know, say, all right, Gyarados, you can do it. Let's see here. So we hit, knocks it out. It wanted to use recover, but it's too late. Powered by Dragon Dance and unleashes a fierce waterfall, striking the Pokemon with immense force. Gragnackle, I think it's pronounced Gragnackle. Before it can recover, it's overwhelmed by the power of the attack. So Gragnackle is passed out, has fainted. We are currently winning. Let's switch out its next Pokemon, which is a Fluttermane. What is a Fluttermane? Oh, okay. Ghost Fairy. Ready to fight and face the mighty Gyarados. What's your next move? So I have, what can I do that would hit a Fluttermane? Does it have Levitate? I should also ask it to include the abilities in here. So let's say Gyarados. Let's change tactics and use Earthquake. We're winning so far. It's a testament to my... How long have I been playing this stupid game? Almost 30 years of playing Pokemon. Alright, so we used... Shadow Ball, so how'd that go? Alright, so he took a little bit more damage than it did. So let's look at a different attack. Let's say... Okay, let's go back to Waterfall. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If we do end up losing this, we probably want to switch out to Venusaur. In fact, that might be a fun move just to see if it'll work. Use Moonblast on us. Yeah, that hit pretty hard. Okay. Gyarados, you've done a great job, but come back. I send out Venusaur. If I can remember how to spell it, Venusaur. Venusaur is hit by fairy energy. Okay, so that didn't do too much. Alright, Venusaur, use sludge bomb. I spelled sludge wrong. We'll see what happens. We should also get a boost because we have black sludge. I want to see if that's going to be included. Did that attack account for Venusaur's black sludge item? So we might have to make sure we're including that as well, because we want to make sure it's always going to be checking to see if the Pokemon has its, its items. So yeah, it gave us 5% of our hit points back. Cool. Use sludge bomb again. Developing a toxic sludge. A mystical flame targets the player's Venusaur. Before fading, Fluttermane managed to cast an unleashed mystical fire, slightly scorching Venusaur. So I was going to send out Iron Hands. We are currently at 65% of our hit points, accounting for mystical fire damage, and are recovered from black sludge. And he has sent out Iron Hands. So we're going to say, Venusaur, you're doing awesome. Use Earthquake. It's named Iron Hands. I'm assuming it's an Iron type Pokemon. Otherwise, we also have Giga Drain, Sleep Powder, and of course we have Sludge Bomb and Earthquake as well. So, and it used Ice Punch on us. That's interesting. If anything, we'd switch back to our Charizard. It has Flamethrower. That should be able to hit it pretty good. Causing significant damage. Iron Hand connects with the cold Ice Punch, exploiting Venusaur's weakness to Ice-type moves. So it brought it down to 40 and it brought us down to 30. So prior to that, we were at 65, so it did 35% of our damage, of our hit points. We're almost there. Venusaur, use Earthquake again, and we should win. Turn 10. A powerful tremor rocks the AI's Iron Hands. He used Thunder Punch. That was dumb. We win. Iron Hands faint sense of victory for your Venusaur and your team. Congratulations on a well-fought battle. Would you like to play another round or discuss any aspect of the battle? So that would be it. So what we'd want to do with this is we'd also want to include over here in the training that we also want it to, I'll say Pokemon ability. So I want to make sure it's including the Pokemon's abilities. We'll grab all of those. And then we also want to make sure that it is going to check for any, for like the abilities and also held items whenever it's attacking. Also, double check the Pokemon's abilities, ability and held items to see if they affect the damage calculations. And then make sure we're using that. Like that. Cool. But yeah, So I'm pretty happy with that. I think it's working. Like it's not obviously like a super complex or even that smart, but like that's just kind of a cool overview of how those things work. Always make sure you are testing your GPTs. Always make sure that you're going through and making sure that they're answering the way that they're supposed to. If you are running into some trouble, sometimes this can help. Sometimes this screws up your configurations, your instructions. So be careful with that. Always back up everything whenever you make any changes to it. I have all this stuff backed up just in case. But yeah, that's how you can create your own custom GPTs. The other cool things I wanted to mention before ending this stream is that there are rumors that ChatGPT and OpenAI is going to open up the GPT store before the end of the month. It is currently November 17th. And some of these GPTs will even give you some revenue share. So, like, you will be able to make money from building up these GPTs and letting people use them through that marketplace. And they have to pay for it in some form or fashion. I'm not 100% sure how that works yet. But this is a way that you could potentially make some money. And then also, you have the ability to only share this with people who get a link. So if you were to build up a specific GPT on a specific task, so for example, analyzing a YouTube video, writing a YouTube video title, like there's a lot of those kinds of tasks, then you can even take that and you can sell that to people through your website, through social media, through whatever you want. So that's also an option that's available to you. My only caution with that is to make sure you're not using other people's property, like intellectual property, their copyrighted material, because that could lead you into hot water, and it's just not a nice thing to do. And then the other thing that I think is really interesting about this is so the next thing that's going to be happening with this is we're eventually going to be able to create something called AI agents. So if we go back to my list of GPTs real quick, like these. So what I'm actually building right now, aside from the Pokemon Battle generator or simulator, is I am trying to build up all the individual like AI employees that I need to run my business, right? So I do SEO, I do YouTube marketing, I do YouTube SEO, I also do like YouTube ads, I do all that kind of stuff. And so I do a lot of like channel audits, I do a lot of writing titles, I do a lot of script writing. Like there's a lot of that kind of YouTube specific tasks that I have to do every day. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to train individual AIs on each of the specific tasks. So you can see I've got an AI built just for writing good titles. I have one that's designed just to review the search engine optimization of the content that I'm writing. I've got another one that can create the viewer avatar, the buyer avatar for whatever it is that I'm trying to promote or whatever services I'm trying to sell, an affiliate thing, whatever. And I even have a bot here that's going to help me create ads for all that. So like I can have this one go through and create the avatar, and then I can use this one to write the ads for that project. I can have this one write all my titles for it or for the ads, and then I can have this one go through and do the SEO for it, and then I can use these two, so mostly just this one, to then go through and to analyze that ad's performance and determine what changes I need to make in the future. So that's kind of like the individual process. But what's going to happen is eventually we're going to be able to link all of these AIs together and basically form like little mini departments within like a business, right? So I'm going to have a YouTube department. I'm going to have a group of YouTube specific AIs or YouTube marketing specific AIs. And then I'm going to be able to create something called an agent that would then be able to control, monitor, and assign tasks to those individual GPTs, assistants, right? And there's a whole bunch of videos about this going around on YouTube right now. Really, really cool stuff. Like look up the term AI swarm, which is really cool. It's some of the really neat things that these guys are doing. So that is kind of the end goal for going through and creating all these. Like eventually you might be able to have your own Pokemon Battle game all built within ChatGPT. You can have one that's gonna be like your rules. You can have them battle each other. Like there's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do with this. So that being said, I hope you guys have found this information to be useful and helpful. Hopefully this will give you guys some ideas as far as new GPTs that you can go out and you can create. And I am really excited to see it. So make sure to share any GPTs that you create in the comments for this so we can check them out and see what's going on. And I think that'll do it. Oh, and of course, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments. You can also find me now on Twitter, and my Facebook got hacked, so I created a new Facebook. And if you want to follow me there, then you can do that as well. But yeah, that's everything I've got. Y'all have yourselves a great day. See you in the next one.